Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Ethereum, and we're going to be doing an update on the Ethereum bull market support band. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. We also do have the sale on the premium list, the Black Friday sale. Check it out. You can find a link to that in the description below as well. Let's go ahead and jump in. So we are fully versed in the bull market support band for Bitcoin. We talk about it all the time. It does look like Bitcoin is inching ever so closer to its own bull market support band, as we mentioned yesterday, which is ranging approximately from 51 to 53K if you round it up to the closest $1,000. Ethereum's bull market support band, if you're curious, is now ranging from around 34.95 up to 35.77. So more or less between 3,500 and 3,600 is where the bull market support band is for Ethereum. Okay, so if you see Ethereum at 3,500, 3,600, something like that this week, then note we could find some support there. We have held a lot of times support there in the past, especially in a bull market. Now, Ethereum doesn't respect the bull market support band quite as much as Bitcoin might, but there still are plenty of examples. This is actually the 2-week time frame. There are plenty of examples where even Ethereum comes back down to hold the line at the bull market support band. Remember, Bitcoin held it at the bull market support band at 40K back in late September. Ethereum held the bull market support band at approximately 2,800 back in late September. So if the route we're going is just a periodic bounce off the 20-week moving average, which again for Bitcoin is more or less what happened back in 2017, rather than a parabolic rally with a blow off top immediately, it was sort of just a systematic test of the bull market support band, which again I think would make a lot of sense keeping in mind lengthening cycle theory, that look, we don't have to go straight up, and it's actually a lot healthier for the market if we don't. It's much healthier for the market if Bitcoin were to do something like this. It'd be a lot healthier if Bitcoin were to do something like this rather than something where it just goes straight up, because when it goes straight up, it usually just means we have to go into some period like this, and no one really likes those periods, right? So when we look at this, we have to say, well, look, Ethereum right now is trading for around 41.56. The bull market support band ranges from $3,500 up to around $3,600. If you see the valuation of Ethereum go to those prices, I would say let's see if the bulls can hold the line, because if it does, I would argue that it's just going to sustain the integrity of the bull market. You know, it's going to keep kicking the can down the road on it, and will probably continue higher and put in new all-time highs, and then maybe even come back down later and test it as support. Okay, so we have to take it 1 week at a time. I know it can be scary, of course, for people that are new to the market and whatnot. But look, sometimes the bull markets are just like this. You get above the 20-week, you explore new prices for a while, then you come back down and you test it as support. Okay, we've seen this play out many times in the past. Probably going to play out many times in the future. The bull market is not over just because Ethereum has had a drop back down to $4,100 or $4,200, right? I mean, Ethereum has more or less been range bound below 5K. I mean, we haven't even broken 5K yet, and we hit 4,400 back in May. So there hasn't really been a whole lot, I feel like, that's transpired with Ethereum over the last seven months or so. Certainly recency bias could have you believing that it's done more than it, but again, we were at these prices, these exact prices, we hit these prices back in May of 2021. So I would argue that Ethereum is still in this long reaccumulation that ultimately it will break out of. I'm guessing to the upside, but remember, that doesn't have to happen immediately, okay? Again, lengthening cycles would argue, the theory would suggest that we still have a ways to go. There's no rush. There's no reason why Ethereum has to make it to 10K or 15K or something by December or January. I know some people think it's just going to do what Bitcoin did 4 years ago, but look, the chances that Ethereum makes it to 20K by December are relatively low. You're talking about going from a $500 billion market capitalization to $2 trillion within the span of about a month. And I would argue that is fairly unlikely going to happen. Okay, so keep in mind that the market overall looks relatively bullish. If we sort of just draw some of our imaginary lines to get an idea, okay, well, are we technically in an uptrend or not? I would argue that, look, I mean, it looks like we're in an uptrend, right? I mean, of course, you can draw these any way you want. You can take it from the wick as well, And you could even argue that we've already tested it once here. Maybe we don't even go back down to those levels. Maybe we hold the line at $4,000 or something. But look, over the macro scale, Ethereum looks quite nice. If you go look at the weekly time frame, by the way, you still can basically look at the same type of trend over the weekly time frame. Namely, starting off from down here, and basically Ethereum's just sort of riding up this long, this slope, right? I mean, it's just sort of, it pops off of it and then it comes back down to it eventually, and then it pops off of it and then it comes back down to it eventually, and we keep doing that same thing. And so we could go back down, right? We could go back down to, to as low as $3,600, $3,700, and Ethereum would still, I would say, look relatively bullish. Now, if we go back to 1,700, then you have to really call into question, okay, well, that looks a lot different. I mean, if we're coming back down here and doing something like that, I mean, that wouldn't be nearly as optimistic or what I would be looking for at this point. I would say, look, it looks like a macro uptrend to me. I do believe we'll continue this uptrend as we continue on through the months. Right now, we do know there is, of course, more downside risk as long as Bitcoin continues to bleed. And we also know that even Bitcoin could drop another 7% and still maintain the integrity of the bull market. And it could even drop all the way down to 11% down from here and still technically be above the 20-week moving average, which around these parts, all we care about is being technically correct. So an 11% drop by Bitcoin still looks relatively healthy as long as we hold the line. With Ethereum, the same type of mentality, I think, could take place. You could argue that even a drop down to, of 17 or 18% is still relatively healthy. And you might wonder, why does Ethereum have to drop more than Bitcoin? It doesn't. It's actually been holding up relatively well against Bitcoin, but we do know that Ethereum tends to get better returns. But when Bitcoin's bearish, it can pull Ethereum back even more. So that's what I'm sort of looking for at this point. We'll see if Ethereum holds the line. I'm still relatively bullish on Ethereum for the market cycle, especially in line with lengthening cycle theory. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, check out the premium list Black Friday sale. You can find a link to that in the description below. You'll get weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the risk dashboard, trading indicators, and more. Lock in the lower rate. We'll have that run through the end of the month. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, click the bell icon to turn on notifications, and I will see you next time. Bye.